you a story about 3 men. Each one of those men had lost someone, and losing that someone had made them feel like they'd lost everything.
At least on this earth, we all will lose the ones we love. That is part of life.
Why me? Why did I have to be the one? Why couldn't she just have lived?
You don't want to know these things. As you say, they don't concern your country. When you go back, you'll only remember the beauty you see here, and nothing else will really be important.
Hector.
Let me tell you what happened next.
Hello?
Contact right! Get away from me! This is my decision. My time to go.
When you refer to the past lives, of course you speak of reincarnation.
Well, there you go then. Live fast, die young.
I don't think anyone ever gets over losing someone. I wish I could stay here forever, but real life beckons, I suppose.
What you need to understand about life is that life is not a puzzle to be solved. It's a mystery to be lived. What you've got to decide is, do you want to live it?
Lance and the Outcasts Crew.
Hello. Well, the Nielsen ratings has been moved from tonight to tomorrow night. And next week we don't have it because next week I am not here. That would be the main reason we don't have it next week. But earlier today, much earlier than normal, I interviewed fantastic actor Jim Piddock. Now, for reasons unknown to me, well, I think I know why. YouTube still thinks that video is live. Now, I had to do that video through. I had to live stream that video interview through Zoom because we couldn't get StreamYard to work for Jim. So I ended the Zoom call, but I don't think that's ended the live. Somehow I have to go into YouTube Studio and try and fix this issue. I'm going to send this invite out to a couple of other YouTubers, see if I can get someone to come on and help me out. Now, tonight we were supposed to be reviewing in detail, in depth, with a full panel, the 4-part drama series Suspect, the shooting of John Charles Jimenez, and I gave very specific instructions to my panel that this would be the main topic of conversation this week. So because not everyone had seen it in time, this is why the Nielsen ratings has been moved. Because if I commit to reviewing something and I commit to having a panel discuss it, that's what's going to happen. Because we weren't able to make that happen tonight, I moved my show. So that will happen tomorrow when it won't just be me and a tin of beans. There will be myself, the inside man, Toxic, who accidentally watched the wrong show, and I think also Northern Bastard as well. I would like to get the biggest panel on possible to discuss this show tomorrow because I think it's a very important show. So I'll put an open invite out now to any other YouTubers watching. If you want to come and give me your views on it, it's available to watch on Disney. We've now gone on to a trailer for Paddington, so I'm just going to get rid of that. That's not. Check this out. It's a 4-part true story. It's an incredibly powerful story. Could somebody please post a comment in the chat? I want to check that the chat is working. I'm wondering if it's working or if it's not working, because we seem to have 2 live streams running at the same time. I can see that there's 9 people watching, but no one has commented. Drew Gordon, hi. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for that. So Fandad Menace is here. Wormy Spoons is here. Okay, good. People can. Rachel, I see all the regulars are in. Sorry the Nielsen ratings isn't happening tomorrow. Procto's here. Okay, great. So I think somewhere in YouTube Studio, I'm not quite sure where, my live stream that I did earlier today still thinks it's live, and I've got to find a way to switch it off. So I'm hoping one of you can assist. I'm going to drop a link to Procto, see if he can come on. Yeah, let's just do that. Okay. Right, Procto, you've got the link, bud. So right. Okay, 11 people watching. This is great, and I'm not even talking about anything at the moment. Thank you very much for coming in. I'll endeavour to continue to be entertaining. Yeah, so tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. So those of you that are regulars, come back tomorrow at 9. That's an hour earlier from now. And I will be doing a special show. It's a special Nielsen ratings, but we're really only going to discuss one show. I might briefly talk about Mobland, which is a show I'm very much enjoying with Tom Hardy, who I have worked for on 2 occasions, directing both of the plays for his theatre company back in the early 2000s. Yeah, that was an interesting experience. Okay, so we have in the chat, I see your other stream's been running for 5 hours. Yeah, so I need to suddenly figure out how to turn that stream off. Okay, do we have anybody else on in the chat right now who's a YouTuber who might be able to guide me? I think I need to get into YouTube Studio to switch that off, but when I've gone to YouTube Studio, I haven't been able to get to the same screen that I was able to get to earlier today. So if anyone's got any ideas, I'd love to know. Yeah, that stream, it still thinks that stream is running. I mean, it ended ages ago. I think we were on for 1 hour and 10 minutes with Jim. And what a fantastic guest he was. Oh my God, he was so funny. I never thought I'd have somebody on my channel called Larry David a Cunt. So, you know, that was quite entertaining. Hold on a second. I've just got to... okay. All right. Okay, so so Procto's at work, so I can't get Procto to come on. Fandad Menace, do you want to pop on? Don't know if you're particularly au fait with these things. I'll tell you who set it up for me. Who set it up for me was Tomby. Tomby may well still be up. He might actually be doing a gaming stream, so we may have to go on and have a look. Let's see. Where is Tomby? There he is. Okay. Right. I appreciate the 12 people hanging in to listen to my typing and befuddlings. I'm sure you find these very entertaining. Let's see what we got here. Schmooze Mate Tomby. Yeah, that's the same guy. So let me. Well, he had some very interesting stories to tell about Larry David, and you know, I can't wait to read Jim's book. It's on its way to me. Let me. Yeah, so if you go onto my channel and have a look, right? At the moment, I've currently got two streams running simultaneously. Look at that. Industry interview with actor Tim Piddock, but which amazingly has only had 40 views, guys. I can't believe that, because he's such a great guest with such a wealth of knowledge, and he was so funny. So right, let me just see. Tomby might be live somewhere playing a game. I mean, let's have a quick look. So if we go lives, okay, we've got you get a taste of some of my YouTube. I've no idea what this thing is. In fact, I don't know most of these streams. Last of Us multiplayer. I very rarely watch gaming streams. I would have expected like people I actually subscribe to come up first, but apparently not. No, I can see here he's not live at the moment, is he? Bollocks. Okay. This is going to be a fun late night with Lancey while I try asking Retro. Retro's not on right now. So I need a technical person to jump on this stream. Any offers? There's 10 people watching. Does anyone have supreme knowledge of the intricacies of live streaming? Otherwise, that's going to just run and run, innit? I don't know what's the maximum you could stream for. There must be a way I can go into YouTube and stop it, but I'm not seeing how. Let me just go to my channel. Have you tried turning it off and on again? That's a line from my play. Not going to do that. So, yeah, I can't afford to turn my computer off right now. All right. So we can go into this. I can go into this video. I can edit it, I think. That's the end of it. That's me saying goodbye. Really didn't want to go on camera this week, so I don't think I'll look very good right now. So that's an industry interview, so we'll just put that on there. Thought I'd done that already, to be honest. But I don't see how we can end it. Let me go into customization. No. Okay, Lord Thrath, are you by any chance technically minded with YouTube? Let me know. Yeah, so don't think analytics, no, that's going to be any use, is it? All right. I don't know how to turn it off. Settings. No. Try restarting your encoder software. I don't know what that means. So you're going to have to be more specific. I don't know what encoder means. I don't know what encoding software is. So I'm very, very computer illiterate. Lord Throth is your man. Okay, so hey, so Lord Throth, do you want to come on this stream? I'll give you a link. I've got 2 live streams running. It's not a YouTube bug. It's nothing to do with that. I know exactly what's happened. I live streamed it through a Zoom call. I stopped the Zoom call, but I didn't end the live stream. I need to get into YouTube Studio, the black box, that is, which I can't seem to figure out how to access from here. So if I can get into there, I can end the stream. Or there may be another way. So yeah, so Mr. Throth, if you can help, let me know. I'll send you the link to come on. I can't. Okay, fucking brilliant. Fantastic. Okay, why did you say he was my guy, Aaron? What's up with that? You're setting me up for fucking false hope there. Let me okay. Okay. No, still don't know what that is, mate. Can't. I'm none the wiser. It doesn't affect this stream. It will end after 2 hours. I just don't really want a 12-hour thing on my channel. So I'm gonna let me try messaging. The fuck is this guy about, man? Yeah, how do I get into YouTube Studio? That is my question. How do I get into that? Because actually, if I can go into the YouTube Studio black screen, I can actually, you know, the one that's got all the stream keys and stuff like that, I can actually stop the stream from there, but I don't know how to get in there. No, I'm not doing any of that. Because I don't know what I'm doing with that. So it needs to be something simpler than that. In other news, Donald Trump claims he had nothing to do with this picture here. I don't care whether he did or not, really. Edit my profile link on your profile page. Do you mean my YouTube profile page? Yes, there's an issue. I did a live stream earlier, which I streamed through Zoom. The live stream is still running as of 5 hours now. I finished the interview 4 hours ago. I'm trying to deactivate the live stream. That's what I was hoping you could help with. Okay, Drew, you're going to have to tell me exactly where to go, so I'm going to share screen. Right. Okay, so the live stream in Zoom. Okay. So I'm going to open Zoom. Zoom's not currently open. So this Jim Piddock live stream that's live here, it's not actually live. This was live streamed via Zoom to YouTube. I ended the Zoom call, but YouTube still thinks it's running, so it's still streaming. There's nothing. It's not streaming anything because the call has ended. Right. Okay, Drew is right. So Thoth, that's how the live stream went. I live streamed the interview via a Zoom call through YouTube. I ended the Zoom call. The live is still running. Yeah, it's a great interview, mate. Really good fun. Thanks for that. So, customize channel. Okay, so I'm clicking on here. Okay, oh, you mean this button here? No, okay. Viewing live control room, that's it. This is the screen I've been trying to get to, guys. This is the screen. End stream. There we go. Done it. Thank you, Drew Gordon. Right. Duration 5 hours 29 minutes. So what we want to do now is edit that in studio. Okay, I'm not particularly au fait with this editing system either. I'm a good editor, by the way, but I've not used this one. It's one of these really simple things I could probably fuck up quite easily. So I don't know, maybe I should just leave it for the moment. What do we think? You actually came into it just as we were discussing it. Yeah, I'm not going to fuff around with this because I know what I'm doing with this. Unless someone wants to jump on the call. I've got 13 people watching. That's more than I had on the actual interview because it was a weird time. So right. Okay, I think the inside man's going to come on and join me. Who, by the way, is not a technical expert when it comes to YouTube minutia. Okay, so let's see if he comes on. We will see. Oh, did one of my friends just get married on a beach? You know, when someone suddenly posts a picture of themselves out the blue. I have to remind myself where I know, but oh yeah, okay. Where I know people from on Facebook because I've got 3,000 people. I've met them all as well. Can you believe that? I think there was only about 20 I've met online during the lockdown or something. The rest, yeah, the rest I know. Okay, that's interesting. Hello.
Hello.
So I just realised my Jim Parrott interview was still streaming because I did it through Zoom.
Yeah.
It was still running, so I'd ended the Zoom call.
Yeah.
And I had to, you know, I had to get into YouTube Studio and end the call. So it was like running like blank.
Oh no.
For however long. Yeah. So yeah, fun times. Yeah. Yeah. Hilarious. Anyway, we were going to be doing the Nielsen ratings today,
Hmm.
but due to the inefficiency and unprofessionalism of certain people, I've had to postpone that. So, yeah, terrible. I don't know. Like when I said, right, we're all going to be discussing this show, it's really important. I need everyone to watch it, which I mentioned, by the way, right at the beginning of the stream, not just at the end when everyone was knackered. I mentioned it twice. Yeah, so, you know, I thought that was like fairly obvious. Perhaps it wasn't obvious enough that there was a reason why I was doing it and that important people would be watching. So, anyway.
Good times.
Yeah, this isn't Mission Difficult, Mr. Hunt. This is Mission Impossible. So, anyway, yeah, so I came on to sort that out. Yeah, so now I'm just rambling, really. Oh, but Darth Plato sent me $20. Look at that.
Oh, bless him.
He's got $20 for talking nonsense.
Yeah, do you know what? He's such a lovely guy. He really is a smashing fella.
He is a smashing chap. We'll get him. Maybe we'll get him back on for the well, because he was a bit of a Spartacus guy, wasn't he? So we'll get him back on for the Spartacus season 2.
Do you know? I can't wait to stream with him again. He really is. He's great to stream with. You know, I love his company. I really do.
Wormy is saying, I suspect it might be Enzo who failed that mission. I can tell you that multiple people failed that mission, as in at least 3 people. Me and the inside man are here, so I'm just, you know, you can use your amazing power of deduction as to whom the other 3 may have been. Yeah, so, you know, because I one of the things I really want to do is get into. I'm very keen to hear American opinions of that particular production.
Yeah.
As are other people, other important people, top men. Dr. Jones.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know, yeah. So it's important to have a panel, as I had suggested there would be.
So talking of Indiana Jones, I mean, I know we're sort of rambling slightly, but talking of Indiana Jones, so I think you said last week that it was kind of a close thing between Raiders and Last Crusade for you. Which one would you say really does actually edge it for you? Just that tiny little bit?
I think now that is a hard question. I mean, Raiders has that, you know, it's the first time it's got that, it's the first time we're seeing everything. And I really like the way the action is directed in Raiders.
Yeah.
You know, the sound of the MP40s and stuff like that. I think that the thing that it doesn't have is Sean Connery and the relationship between Connery and Ford.
Yeah. 2
quite big egotistical actors, which clearly sort of there was some great playful stuff going on with the 2 of them.
Yeah.
I think maybe that makes Last Crusade a little bit more rewatchable in terms of, like, if I was going to watch an indie film with a bunch of people and we could only watch one, I might go for that one. I mean, I did take 40 people to see The Last Crusade at the Empire Leicester Square on the opening night when it had the first laser show it ever had. So, hey, so Fandad has said, have a peer and get inside man a 20 pence bag of nuts, I think is what he means by that. So, yeah, I mean, I agree that, like, yeah, Last Crusade has that perfect ending to the trilogy. You know, they're going off into the sunset.
Yeah.
It's really good that there were no other Indiana Jones films after that, I think.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't make it. Yeah, it would have ruined it if they'd actually made any other.
Imagine if they'd just come back and made a, you know, really hashed, poorly written
Just imagine if they made them two like science fiction movies, like one was about sort of like aliens and the other one was about like time travel or
Time
something.
travel. Yeah.
I mean, that would have really ruined it, you know. But
I
I'm
mean,
glad they didn't.
I could have watched an indie film about Area 51 or Roswell if it had a great script and no CGI monkeys in it.
Yeah.
And Ray Winston not, you know, changing sides every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm CIA. No, I'm not. I'm FBI.
Oh, ever banana.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit kind of, you know, what indeed, apples and pears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that line that he delivers in Beowulf, in a terrible Cockney accent, he's struggling not to be a Cockney, and he says, "I will kill you, monster." You think,
Yeah.
no.
That
Slightly casting.
Beowulf film was kind of a weird movie.
It was.
Yeah.
I think another wasted opportunity, actually. But yeah, he's not so much Beowulf, more Beergut, I think. Ray Winston, you know.
So
bless him.
hopefully our Nielsen ratings suspect special will be tomorrow. But while we're here, I think we should have a look at some Lego. Yeah, because that's an important topic to discuss.
Oh, did you see what the Science Museum had said that
about which particular issue?
About Lego.
What did it say?
They said that Lego was misogynistic, transphobic, and homophobic.
What?
I have.
How is this
I
come
think
about?
It's really weird. I mean, it's somebody at the Science Museum has decided that because the blocks are kind of like interconnected with you know, what would be considered to be male female sort of sockets and what have you.
Oh my God! Give it a rest.
Yeah, that's where it all kind of comes from, and also apparently the colours
Oh God!
are not conducive to modern society. And this is the Science Museum, who's supposed to deal in enlightenment and reason. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't feel we should give that topic no further air.
Yeah.
This is the third version of the Boba Fett type ship. They've done. I had the original Lego version of this, which I gave to my nephew, I seem to recall. And now they've got Jango Fett's one with his son, who's got like tiny legs. If we can get the picture any larger, there you go. See the son's got tiny legs. You see, so he's like all tiny. Look at that haircut.
Nice. Just out of curiosity, what is ET short for?
Extraterrestrial.
No, because he's got little legs.
Hey!
Sorry about. Apologies.
Inside Man is here all week. Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna have to delete this comment in the chat because I can't have I can't have fictional comments on my channel. So we have to delete this comment about there being 5 Indiana Jones films. I'm just gonna remove that comment. I'm not gonna put the user in timeout because they did help me in my live stream. Yeah, so feeling slightly better today. Still coughing, but I am feeling a little bit better because I was coughing.
The old tablets are kicking in, are they?
Looks like it. Right, let's go back to the Lego. It's a much more important topic. Hang on, let me do this as a single screen. Don't need to be looking at ourselves, do we? Yeah, so I've got tons of Lego in the shed, and I keep saying I'm going to do a big Lego project this year. just going to like get it all out, and I'm going to build something like random, like a massive castle or something like that. As a sort of, I'm gonna pass it off as a sort of mental health therapy exercise. But of course, that's complete bullshit. It's just an excuse for me to get all my Lego out and build something. But I had a big birthday party a couple of years ago, and I always wanted a Lego Death Star, and I couldn't afford one. And somebody went round in the pub, because we all met in a pub, and they took a bucket and they raised money, and there was 400 quid in that bucket.
Wow.
So I was able to get the Death Star, which was £350 at the time, and I was able to order a load of stormtroopers from China to go in. I got like 100 stormtroopers to populate my Death Star. Now I've got my eye on this rather special Jabba's sail barge, which I'd really like to get hold of, which goes for around the same kind of price. It's about £400. Fortunately, my birthday looms nigh. It's coming up in July. So, yeah. So I may have to organise another big pub outing and bucket collection. Because everybody always offers to buy you a drink. But I'm not a big drinker, and I can't drink as many drinks as would be offered anyway.
Yeah.
So check out this. Look, there's a little kitchen. That's kind of cool. Leia's got the
Nice.
golden bikini.
Nice.
Not sure she had those red shorts. Oh, that's supposed to be the loincloth thing, isn't it? These would be the unique figures. So you get Max Rebo. Still think he should have his own show. I think you get a Jabba. You get a Jabba with it as well. There's a Jabba. Gotta have Jabba.
Yeah.
I like the way that this guy, this guy that they've used in this picture, right?
Yeah.
You noticed anything familiar about him?
Go on.
Well, I mean, if you look at his hair and the jumper, I don't know if we can get the picture. He's like a young George Lucas, isn't he? See the hair? See the haircut?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny, isn't it? So yeah, I love the look of this. I think this is great. It's got like loads of little details in. It's it's just an excuse to sort of come up with this Star Wars pew pew game where we roll dice and people fall in the Sarlacc pit, that kind of shit. Yeah. So see, somebody else said George Lucas. Do a Kickstarter, Lance. then stream building it. Well, I'm quite happy to stream building it. I don't know about doing a Kickstarter. I don't want to beg people for that. So that I'd quite like that Star Wars set. I'm not collecting them all, but
it is nice that we still have, an enthusiasm for real Star Wars, Star Wars proper, as it were.
Yeah.
There's still a big kind of appetite for it. I think really what with the the recent re-release of the anniversary release of Revenge of the Sith, regardless of whether we liked it or not, I think it does somewhat make everything that has gone on after that sort of pale into absolute insignificance. They do really make things like Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith look like Citizen Kane and Gone with the Wind.
Unfortunately, that is true. I know somebody else who got his friends to club together and got in this Millennium Falcon.
Nice.
There's a simple reason why I wouldn't do that, and that is I do not have room for this anywhere. Because this model is pretty huge. Great though. It's got all the interior and stuff. I think they've even got the chessboard. Oh, look, there's a Rhinoc. We've got a Rhinoc in there. Yeah, so kind of cool. Yeah, there's the chessboard. Get a Landau Calrissian. Yeah, you see this guy holding it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how big it is. It's pretty big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's big.
And that's why it's a tasty 700 notes.
Jeez.
So, but it is cool. Yeah, Rachel says
cool,
it is cool. I I have to say, I don't think you could buy the real Millennium Falcon for £700. You might be able to get Han Solo's blaster. You probably couldn't get the spaceship.
I think you
700
could,
million, maybe.
you could certainly get a ride on the real Millennium Falcon for £700.
Oh yeah, you can do the one
Yeah.
at the theme park.
Yeah, or the
Well-
real Millennium Falcon. You know, or you could actually steal it and fly it yourself. So to hell with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not quite sure where that's going, but I'll take your word for it.
I'm just kind of, you know, riffing.
Riffing. Okay. All right. Well, let us continue to riff. This is the one I could afford. Look at this one. Even this one's like 74 quid. That's outrageous. Doesn't even come with any figures. Yeah, so that's kind of cool that they've done the Rebel ships and things. I had a Yoda on a keyring, and then I just, after a while, I just had a keyring. Don't know what happened to Yoda. And this is like the Dark Falcon. Not even sure. Did this actually exist in Star Wars? Was the Falcon black at any point? I don't think it was it?
No.
I don't remember it being black.
I think it's just kind of a, I know, that looks cool. Let's do a Black Falcon.
Yeah.
It does look cool, actually. So.
Yeah, to be fair, it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting. I like the way it all opens up like that. Substantially cheaper than the other one. This one is designed so that when kids go, but I want the £730 one, Dad. Dad can go, yeah, but look how cool the black one is.
Yeah.
Look how cool the one is for £159. That Dad really doesn't want to spend, but he'll go with that. So they've made this Sarlacc. Note that this is Star Wars Special Edition Sarlacc with the stupid Audrey creature thing in it.
Yeah.
You could probably take the lips off and just have the tentacles.
Yeah.
In any other conversation, those points would seem strange.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. And there you go. More unique figures. But they don't have any of the guards and shit that were on the skiff. You need to have some of the other bad guys. These are all the good guys, apart from Boba Fett.
Was it Klaatu and Nikto and
yeah.
Skiff Guard 1?
Skiff Guard.
Yeah.
Skiff Guard 1 and Skiff Guard 2.
Yeah.
Also known as Bantha fodder.
Yeah.
And I think we've come to the end of... There's a Yoda plushie. I've actually got a Baby Yoda plushie. And he doesn't look as kind of freaky as this one. Mind you, my one's a Grogu type, so there you go. They're called the Gamorreans. See, look, Darth Plato knows everything. All right, hold on. I'm just going to mute myself for 2 secs.
Can you hear me? Well, anyway, I've got one thing to say to that, and that is Utini, everybody. Utini indeed. But, you know, I mean, I've never really sort of... never really sort of rated the prequel series personally. I'm a bit of a, I suppose, a bit of a purist when it comes to Star Wars. I mean,
sorry, I just had to do a big Utini there.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've said it before that my Star Wars fandom really kind of starts with Episode 4 and ends with Empire Strikes Back. That's really it.
Right.
I mean, there are elements of Return of the Jedi that are okay, but it just doesn't quite, you know, the whole sort of Ewok-y thing is a bit.
Yup, nup. Icha, yup, nup.
Yeah.
It would have been a lot better if they had done a Chewbacca's family planet as originally planned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that would have been so much better.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
but the possibilities really are pretty endless, and then just look at the dross that's being churned out. Oh, actually, there was something that I was going to talk about on the Nielsen ratings. It's nothing to do with a review of anything, but I think it's quite a valid talking point at the moment. This situation that Donald Trump has decided to, or this idea that he's decided to come up with, and charge 100%
Is that the
tariff.
assimilate the rest of the world idea?
Well, it's the charging 100% tariff.
On the film
on
industry.
the
You know
films,
what?
yeah.
We can talk about that topic actually, even though we don't do politics and religion here. We do film production.
I mean, it struck me as being rather bizarre and definitely not particularly well thought out. Right. So I think the argument that he's saying is that there's far too much in the way of Hollywood production that's going on in Canada, the United Kingdom, and New Zealand, which there is. But there's a reason for that, and that is that there are not so many stringent union rules in any of those three countries, and there are huge tax breaks which effectively will halve or even quarter the budget. So you could have a production from Hollywood, so a Disney production, come to the United Kingdom or to New Zealand and Canada, and they will pay a fraction of what they would pay should that be made in Hollywood. So the problem really is this. If we boil it down to, let's say, a budget of 250 million. So if we have a movie that has a budget of 250 million that's been given tax breaks in any of those three countries. So they're making a really good quality, high quality, it might not be something that we like to watch, but a good quality, high budget movie with no union restrictions, with nothing that's going to interfere with the making of the movie. And yet, when that movie gets taken back to the United States, he'll be charging 100% on that, right? Which will turn it into a $500 million movie. But what he wants is he's trying to do this as to entice filmmakers, the big Hollywood studios, to come back to Hollywood to make their movies there. The problem is that the union restrictions are so stringent, as I think most Americans would probably know, who have anything to do with the film industry in the United States. They would absolutely know that. But it means that the movies are extraordinarily expensive as well, which means that a $250 million movie could grow into either $500 million, $750 million, or $1 billion budget. Now that's unsustainable in terms of film production from any of these companies. They cannot continuously turn out $1 billion or $500 million movies at the rate that they would. So, at the rate that they would prefer. So it stands to reason that this is surely the beneficial thing. This is benefiting everybody. But there's another problem, and that also means the other problem is this, that he's looking to have other movies distributed around the United States, say foreign movies, British, Canadian, New Zealand, European movies, Chinese movies, Indian movies, wherever they're from the rest of the world. But he is going to charge, or he wants to charge them 100%, a 100% tariff on the movies coming in, which is effectively going to drive out any US distribution for any foreign movies.
No one's going to distribute any European movies in the US anymore.
There'll be nothing.
No.
I mean, look, there are certain things that I think he has said that I kind of agree with, in terms of you have to take care of your domestic population. They are your primary concern.
I think any leader who's got that
Absolutely,
at the forefront of their thing is off to a winner.
That's right. That's your primary concern. Yeah.
Regardless of what I think of the man.
Yeah. But But I do think that this is, I think it's maybe a little bit of saber rattling, perhaps. And I have a very strong feeling that the industry, that the massive companies, the big production companies and distributors in the United States and in Hollywood are going to really express their dismay at this decision.
Yeah.
Because it will also affect the streaming services. It will also
Yeah.
affect the things like Apple TV and Netflix. I mean, now Shepperton Studios is all but a Netflix studio. It's almost entirely a Netflix film studio.
Yeah.
And we
And
have the Apple TV studios
Pinewood
and the other things.
is pretty much a Disney
Disney, yeah,
studio.
yes, it
Yeah.
is, yeah. And so with even with streaming services, there is a problem. There is a massive problem. What are you going to do? Are you going to, block the streaming in the United States for anything that might be considered non-domestic product? And it's going to affect the revenue of all of these services, whether it be streaming or, theatre distribution for movies. So it's a big thing. It's a massive concern.
Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of horrified when I heard him talking about 100%. He basically wants to bring film production back. We used to make 100% used to be made here.
Yeah.
Now it's now we make nothing here. I thought,
Yeah.
mate, that's overstating it a bit.
No.
I think it's
I mean,
not quite as clear cut as that.
No. I mean, there are some amazing productions that have come out of the United States. I mean, whether it's East Coast, West Coast, or wherever, it doesn't matter. Whether it's television, particularly, I think television productions. I think Hollywood or the United States has led the way in terms of modern TV consumption, because what they have done is that they were the ones that have turned television into something more cinematic. They had the foresight to do that, to have high quality writers, high quality filmmakers making television, and they've effectively made something that is in effect televisual into something cinematic. Whereas I find not with every British film, but I think with most British films, we have something cinematic that's turned into something almost televisual, which is, a great shame. So we have the reverse of that. I think there is a kind of regression, I think, in this country in terms of mainstream filmmaking in this country. But there's so much talent. There's so much talent on both sides of the Atlantic, or just around the globe in general, really. But people need to be given the opportunity.
Well, we've got a lot of opinions on this in the chat. Everything from Wonky Chewbacca, which probably referred to my Trump impression. I don't really understand how tariffs in movies would even work. At the theatre, that one's film tickets would cost double. I'll tell you now, if cinema tickets cost double, that's it. Game over. That will be the end of cinema. At the minute, they can't make the tickets cheap enough for people to go, because they are simple mathematics. 90% of performances at any given cinema, even in the evenings, are 75% empty. Simple as. No one's going. The older generation, a lot of them have stopped going because they don't like people being on their phones in screens. And what you did was you removed the ushers from the screens. So there's now no one to tell people to stop being on their phones. So if I want to stop someone from being on their phone, I either have to address the issue myself, which I don't want to do because I don't work there, or I have to get up, I have to leave the screen, which means I'm now missing the film that I've paid to see, and get a disinterested staff member to address the issue.
Yeah.
And then the people who saw me leave the screen will also know that it was me that went and got them. So now I've set myself up for a potential punch up for when I come out of the screen. Guess what, cinemas? I don't want that from my cinema going experience. So that's why you've lost a lot of people from that generation.
Yeah, I
Young
think
people are streaming everything, so they don't go. They watch stuff on their phone. They don't care about the big screen experience. They just don't care about it.
But wouldn't it be great if they had one of those signal blockers in every single cinema?
I could not agree more. I think they should. I think they should have a the reception device. I think also every time you get your phone out in the cinema, it should like activate a fart thing under the seat. It makes it seem like you farted, like
Yeah, or have a spotlights over every single seat, or preferably a huge spike under every seat. So if there's any kind of additional light that's detected, a
Well,
huge spike.
when they started putting like that dye in the swimming pools, the public
Yeah.
swimming pools. So if somebody
Yeah.
peed, suddenly the water would all change color around them, and you could it was very clear who'd done a wee. And that started like shaming the culprits. So people stopped pissing in the pools. People stopped pissing in public swimming pools when that happened. Yeah, that doesn't. I don't know what the equivalent of that is in the cinema, but that's one of the reasons I don't go. I mean, the other reason I don't go is a lot of people like going on their own. I actually don't enjoy going to the cinema on my own. I like going with someone. I like talking about the film afterwards. And I used to do that a lot with my partner. And when they were no longer in my life, when I go on my own now, that just reminds me of that void. And that then I come out the film and I feel miserable. So I went to see Warfare the other day, and I thought, yep, you know what? That is the last film I'm going to go and see on my own. So, and there's not an abundance of people who are available to go and see movies at the drop of a hat. Most of my friends have got kids or grandkids and fucking dozens of other commitments. Also, guess what? No one's got any money, even small amounts of money, to go to the movies. People don't have money. They're barely able to pay for the bills that you've been hiking up for because of the war in the Ukraine or whatever bullshit reason of the week they've come up with. And it's all a bit pantaloons, isn't it?
Yeah.
So hey ho.
Yeah, and also I think it's not that we want to talk about politics, but I think the price of tickets and everything, as you said before, it just seems to be going up and up and up, and it's no longer that sort of reasonably cheap night out as it once was. Yes.
Yeah, it's not. That's true. I mean, by the time if you're one of these people that indulges in popcorn and a hot dog and a Coke, well, plus your ticket, you're spending 30 quid.
Oh yeah, keep going. Yeah, then some, really, isn't it? It's it can be incredibly expensive. The concession stand.
Yeah, indeed.
But I mean, it's still a wonderful experience, though, isn't it? I mean, I think there are so many cinematic experiences. I think that we would have. Once you reach a certain age, that those cinematic experiences have stuck with you. I think, and I think, didn't you write a book about it?
I did write a book about my cinematic experiences in life. Yes, actually, I've had a couple more ratings for it, which has been nice. If I get that up now, I've had there's a few reviews as well. I really appreciate the reviews. The reviews for the book are so important. But yeah, it's had 10 ratings in the UK. It's had 12 ratings in the US of A. So it's currently trending at 4.5 stars out of 5, which is perfectly
Pretty good.
acceptable.
Pretty good.
And yeah, Silver Screen Journeys with a foreword by my good man, the Critical Drinker. There's a nice picture of me and my dad on the back there. And that photo was taken, I think it was taken about, I want to say that picture was taken in 2000 and, probably around 2009, 2008 maybe. And yeah, I'd gone down to see my parents, I think with my then girlfriend, and my dad was the other person in the family who was a really big movie guy, and I was trying to arrange transportation to take him to see Avatar at the IMAX.
Yeah.
Around the month he passed away, and so I didn't drive, and it was a bit of a unaffordable hotel taxi expense from Surbiton, which is where he was in the home. So I was sort of Facebook had just become a thing. I'd just done a post on Facebook sort of saying, you know, if there was anyone who was willing to help me drive my dad to and from the IMAX, you know, I'd pay for them to go to see the movie and blah blah blah, whatever, some petrol money and whatnot. And it just didn't really happen. And unfortunately, yeah, he passed away. Yeah, probably a couple of weeks after that. So he never got to see Avatar, which was a shame because he would have loved it. But there you go.
So what sort of movies did your dad really enjoy? What was
well I mean, the first film that we went to see together was that I remember was Oliver, the musical. But my dad was a big Bond fan, James Bond fan, and actually he had several of the original novels, which I have in a box just behind me. And then it was the sort of mid to late 70s was when going to the cinema as a family was a thing. And of course, the one that started all that off, of course, was Star Wars. So that was very much kind of the children's TV party treat. You know, everyone's birthdays, if Star Wars was on, that was it. We were all going to see Star Wars again. But the one that I remember going to see with mum and dad after Oliver, and this would have been a few years later, because Oliver, when I went to see Oliver, I was tiny, and it wasn't Oliver when it originally came out, because I think it came out in the 60s, I think.
Yeah, 68, I think it was.
Yeah, no, this would have been around 1975, 76 even.
Yeah.
It was a re-release, and in fact, that's a photograph of the cinema on the front of the book.
Yeah.
By the way, if any of the regulars in the chat have bought a copy of the book, please send me a picture of it. If you don't want to include a photo of yourself, do send me a picture of the book on your coffee table or with your favorite baby Grogu doll, whichever works. And I'll give you a shout out. But if you have bought it, please do a review on Amazon. It doesn't have to be a War and Peace review. You don't have to do like 30 lines, but I would very much appreciate a review. So yeah, I mean the first movie I sort of saw after that with them was this one. So oh man, and I mean, like, they show this normally at the Prince Charles every year, although they've got no James Bond season lined up this year, funnily enough. I think they've done it like 3 years in a row, so I think maybe they've decided to not to do it this year, which is fair enough. But you know, they always show The Spy Who Loved Me twice when they do it, and last year was the first time I actually went to both screenings of it.
Yeah.
And I went to one with 3 of my friends' kids who'd never seen it. My ex, not my ex-wife, my ex-ex, and then Toby, who's the parents of the other kids. And you know, it was great. We loved it. And then I went back to see it on my own a week later. Some of the same guys were in the cinema again, which was quite funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't enjoy it when I went on my own. I just I like sharing the experience of seeing a film with somebody. That's very important to me.
Yeah.
Dan Caddy, I still owe you a review. Buddy, yeah, just tell me, did you like the book? By the way, you need to come on the channel at some point. I keep seeing you on other streams, and I think you need to come on at some point. Yeah, and which was there a particular bit in the book that really resonated with you or struck a chord? If so, let me know. Yeah, so Spy Love Me was, and probably still is my favourite Bond, I think. For many, many reasons. Some of the reasons are in this picture. Oh, no, sorry, that's not the picture I meant to put up. No, some of the reasons are in this picture. I mean, this is my favourite Bond set of all time.
Yeah.
I mean, the volcano, obviously, in You Only Live Twice is a close second.
Yeah.
But I just really love this one because the submarines, got 3 submarines in it. It's really cool, you know. And I constructed a Lego version of this, and I had all my like red Lego spacemen as the you know, the guys in the red jumpsuits, and then I had like all my, and then the white Lego spacemen were the guys in the control center, and then I had all my other Lego men, whatever they were, kind of were all the crews of the various submarines. And of course, you know, when you're doing a big Lego battle, you have to incorporate every figure you've got. So I realized if I turned the Lego Knights shields upside down and had them held upside down, they sort of looked like this kind of weird Sten gun. So I had so you know, all the Lego Knights got involved. But and I must have, and I used to roll dice, so it was like early kind of wargaming for me. I must have gamed this battle, oh man, over 100 times, I would think. And I had a cool black Lego spaceman who was Bond. Yeah. So I was ahead of my time. I cast Bond as a black guy in my Lego space battle. There you go.
But it's amazing though, you know, looking at the sets on the Bond stage. I mean, whenever I look at, you know, some of these movies that have been filmed on the Bond stage, but particularly ones that have sort of preceded my time working in movies or on that stage, it blows my mind, especially when I do see The Spy Who Loved Me. You know, that set, the way, you know, obviously because the stage was constructed specifically for that movie. And, you know, I think to myself, whenever I've worked on that stage, you know, I think to myself, you know, there's so much history, you know, just pulsing through this stage. You know, so many great movies have been made on this stage, you know.
I always wondered what happened to this model. You know, of the underwater city. Yeah, I wonder what happened to that, if that got binned or if someone kept it.
Yeah, I mean, I should imagine Derek Meddings probably would have taken that away. But then again, I mean, Eon Productions have been very good at archiving many of the products, many of the items that were produced for the movies.
Didn't you see that story recently? Yeah, mate, Aaron, I did loads of Lego battles with dice, man. Loads. Did you see that story recently about the Lotus Esprit turning up in like that storage unit?
Oh yeah, there was I know there was one that was used as a promotional one of the promotional Lotus Esprits, because the original Lotus, believe it or not, actually belonged to somebody that worked at the studio.
Right.
and they borrowed it from him, and it was because there was if you wanted to purchase one of the Lotus Esprits, it took something like 18 months, so they were made to order.
But I think the company behind them, didn't they lend a couple more to the production art?
No, they only had the one. They only had the one Lotus Esprit, and the rest of them were fabricated from fiberglass.
Ah, right, okay.
And there was they did eventually have a promotional Lotus Esprit, which I think went to the States, turned up in a storage unit in the United States.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, and but there was also, because the original DB5 was stolen, and they believe that it was stolen to order and is somewhere in possibly Dubai. That's where they believe.
You mean the original Lotus?
The original DB5, the Aston Martin DB5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the one that they trawl out and that they bring out for these Bond events over at Pinewood is a DB5, obviously, but it's not the DB5.
Right.
It's a DB5 converted to be as the DB5.
I always found it absolutely incredible that this shot here, that is a miniature. It's a big miniature, so that's a big remote control car with a big remote control helicopter behind it.
Yep.
In a fake stanchion, and that is actually the Sardinian coastline in the background.
Yes,
I've actually been there. So what they've done is a bit of forced perspective here. They've built this in the water, and then they've run off their, actual remote control car and helicopter with a real backdrop, which is why it looks so real.
Yeah.
I remember when I was watching this and that shot, I thought, wow, what a cool stunt, But it's actually, those are two remote control vehicles.
This was, it was such a masterful movie in terms of, particularly, I think, in special effects. You look at that oil tanker. That oil tanker is a phenomenal miniature.
Yeah, it's huge. Huge model.
Huge. And because I believe that they were going to rent an oil tanker.
They were going to rent one, and the gun battle was supposed to take place on top. And they couldn't get the insurance, and they also said that they'd need cleaning to make them safe for the stuntman and all of this kind of thing.
I think it was the fumes, wasn't it? They said that the fumes, it takes years for those fumes to dissipate, so those fumes would be in there for years.
I'm kind of glad that they didn't do that, because they wouldn't have built the miniature. We wouldn't have had the scenes with the subs coming in, and that first shot when all the lights come on inside is such a great moment. I really do. I love all of that. This whole set is just incredible.
Yes.
I remember watching, there was a great episode of Clapperboard that had all this wonderful behind the scenes footage of them actually filming that battle scene. And all of those episodes of Clapperboard have been destroyed.
Yes, they have. I think there's about 3 episodes of Clapperboard actually exist now.
Yeah.
And that really is it. There might be extracts. I think one of them that was found was the For Your Eyes Only one. But that was, when I say that was found, that wasn't actually found in Granada, at Granada TV, which for our American cousins watching, Granada Television was one of our regional television stations here in the United Kingdom, up until the 1980s, I think.
Yeah.
80s, so this program, Clapperboard, for anyone that's interested, was kind of a sort of an after-school slot, wasn't it? A sort of a children's TV.
Yeah, it was.
Slot,
it was
really,
on after Michael
o'clock.
Bentine's Potty Time.
Potty Time, yeah.
Which was, I
and
mean, we won't even bother trying to describe that program
no,
to the uninitiated, because
yeah.
it would just make us sound like we're on drugs, which the people that came up with it probably were. Yeah, there's the
Yeah.
miniature we've been talking about, which is a fantastic shot of that.
Yeah. But the funny thing about Clapperboard was, it was me first seeing Clapperboard in the early 70s, I think about 73. They did one on The Land That Time Forgot, and it was a full behind the scenes making of The Land That Time Forgot.
Right.
And I remember thinking, yeah, I want to do that. And then they did one on miniature effects, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. And they showed how they did force perspective miniatures and stuff like that. So they would cover all aspects of filmmaking. And it was that show that really made me want to work in film.
But this was also your dad dropping this grenade, or could have been, because he looks a bit like you.
Yeah. Do you know what? I mean, I absolutely, I love the Bond movies. You know, even the Bond movies that people don't like. You know, even the ones that I think, oh God, you know, that's pretty awful. I think as a whole, I think we're gonna, you know, we're gonna lament the loss of Bond proper, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because I think it is going to be going into a direction that we hoped it would never go. And even the lesser loved Bond movies are going to be ones that people are going to look back on and, you know, with an enormous fondness and cherish them. You know, I mean, I've been sort of, you know, I watched Moonraker recently. I mean, I thought, actually, it's actually not a bad movie. Moonraker is not a bad film.
Stuff that's really good.
Yeah.
And then there's some stuff which really lets it down, like the space. I watched it on the big screen not that long ago. In fact, it was the last Bond movie that me and the ex-wife saw together. And you know, we went to watch it, and there's the scene where all the guys. I know the exact line. The guy says, "Number 1 platoon EVA, number 1 platoon EVA," and they open up the cargo bay doors, and you've got all these supposedly, whatever they are, American Space Commandos, whatever you want to call them. Right. There is a clear shot of them. You can see exactly how many of them fit in the cargo bay part of the shuttle, which would be 10 to 12 guys tops. And I'm being generous with that. It's probably more like 8, but let's go with 12. And then we've got this shot. And in fact, let me see if I can find this now, because I bet it's on YouTube. We then cut to this shot of them all sort of speeding over towards the space station. I love that space station. I love that model.
Yeah.
And the fact that they destroyed it with a load of shotguns, and when I found that out, was you know, and then played that kind of like slow. I thought that was pretty cool. There's some really good effects work, you know, like the plate shots,
really
and the humor's good. Bond's like devices are cool. But here we go. So this is that sequence. I'm almost certainly going to get a copyright thing for this, but we've got it here. So let me put it on. Oh, and hang on. Darth Plato sent me a super chat earlier, which I didn't read out. I'm going to get to that, mate. So let me just cue this up, and then I'll do that. I mean, I've got a lot of love for Moonraker. It's, you know, it has got some things that are a bit silly, but I think it went lent into the comedy a bit too much.
Yeah, so, I mean, the ludicrous, you know, Venice hovercraft.
Scene, you know. Yeah, I could have done without the hovercraft. It would have been better if it was just a cool kind of fast boat.
Yeah, perhaps a pigeon doing a double take was just a little bit too far.
Did you play Evil Genius? You are a Bond villain building your base, your basic henchman, look exactly like the yellow suit. Hard hat goons from Moonraker. Other countries try to thwart you. The UK guys in a white tux. Yeah, is that a board game or a computer game? I do remember that. I do remember that, Evil Genius. Yeah, I think it's a computer game. And I think someone recommended that to me. I feel like I need to buy that now, but I'll do that when I come back. Dan Candy. I unapologetically love Moonraker. See what I did there, Dan? Right. So, yeah. So let's look at this sequence. Like the music as well.
It's one of John Barry's finest scores.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'd say it's one of his best. Right. So open the cargo doors. Okay. So hold on. I've got to.
Number 1 platoon. EVA. Number 1.
Right. Okay. Here we go. We've got a clear shot of pretty much the entire shuttle. Right. There are 8 guys in there. There's 8 in that shot. Now there's a reverse shot of that earlier where it's opening up here. So let's have a look at that. Right. Okay. So you can see clearly there's 8 guys there. Now, being generous, there might be 2 more guys that we can't see towards the front. However,
Number 1 platoon.
when we get the reverse
EVA.
shot, we can clearly see all the way to the front, and there's still 8 people in there. So let's say there might be 2 more out the back here that we can't see. So that basically means, apart from the guys in the cockpit, there is a team of 10 Americans, 12 at most, including the guys who are in the cockpit on board this thing. There's 8 in this shot. There's 2 here. There's 2 floating. There's 2 here. There's 2 here. So there's 8 in this shot, right? So stop bringing realism into Moonraker. Mate, I'm not bringing realism in. I'm just talking about what they showed on the actual screen, okay? Right, so then, right, now, how many guys have we got coming out of this space shuttle here? Well, let's count some of those blobs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And I bet that's going to increase slightly. Yeah, there's a couple more. That's like probably about 24 now. There's a couple more. And then, I mean, in this shot alone, there's, 3, 6, 8, 9, 10. 2 more there. So suddenly there's this force of like 25 guys where there was 8 guys. And then if you count all the Americans that die in this battle, they lose like most of them. So, you know, I do like it. It's well done. Like shots like that where the guy smashes on that is really cool. But they just went a bit over the top with the number of guys they put in the shot, didn't they? They just kind of blew it a bit. You know.
But what was fascinating about the way the visual effects were done for these sequences, you know, a combination of miniatures and live action, was that they were filmed without the aid of any kind of compositing. So there was no blue screen, green screen, nothing went through an optical printer.
True.
So they would film one individual element against a black velvet background. Then they would carefully rewind the film right back to the beginning.
Yeah, and then film the next bit.
Film another element. And I think
yeah.
maximum was something like 78 separate passes that it went through the camera, like the times that it was filmed, which would mean that it was something like 156 times that film had actually passed through the camera, which
Aaron's
is a
come
phenomenal
up with a solution. There's another 12 guys lying down in the ship.
Yeah, I think that they were probably in like holdalls or something. They were in like compartments or in baggage, you know, crouched.
Maybe there's an underside to the vessel. I mean, you know, I'm gonna.
Or should there be vessel?
We see the ship coming in here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call bullshit on that suggestion. There's no other doors or anything. By the time these guys get killed, coming into this corridor, their entire force has actually been destroyed, and the only ones really left are the guys that have docked the ship. For the benefit of people watching, though, this was the world record number of people suspended on wires in a single shot for a movie when they did the thing with zero gravity, which I thought was very cool.
Incredible.
And I also, if I remember rightly, the interior set for that space station, which was a beautiful set, that was in France, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah,
yes, it was. I mean,
it wasn't in Pinewood for a change.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it wasn't in Pinewood. There was all kinds of problems with bringing it in the UK, and of course, it was much cheaper to film in France. The problem is that there's the strict union regulations at the time in France. Basically meant that they would start filming at 9 a.m.
Right.
And finish on the dot at 4 p.m. So there was nothing. There was nothing kind of in between. I think it was a break. I think they would break for lunch around about 1 p.m. for an hour, but that was the full day. So there was nothing prior to, and of course Roger Moore absolutely loved it because it meant that he could get up nice and late.
Yeah, but he did.
No 4 o'clock, 4 a.m.
No 4 o'clock call times for Roger.
Yeah,
let's film in Paris again.
Yeah.
Here you go. So I'm going to call bullshit again, right? So they've docked their vessel. Now we know from the footage that all the guys in the back of the ship have gone out. The only guys left in the ship are the guys in the cockpit, which is 2 guys. Okay. And we also know from the dialogue that no one who got outside managed to get inside the ship except the 2 guys that came in that we just saw that got killed. So the ship has docked. Somehow all these guys have managed to pack into the cockpit. Now, okay, they could be in the jump seats and things behind, but we don't see them. So coming in from that, look, you've got this squad. There's like 6 guys. Look, there's another guy behind him. There's 7 guys. There's 7 guys somehow squeeze into that cockpit. I do love that set. That set is amazing.
Oh, it's great. I think wasn't this Ken Adams' last?
I think it was Ken
movie.
Adams.
I think it was the last Bond movie that he did. Yeah, and then Peter Lamont took over from there on. But he was absolute genius. But I love the launch set. With those kind of almost sort of Mondrian sort of those beautiful sort of Mondrian sort of screens that they have, the blue, yellow, red.
Yeah.
It's just a staggeringly imaginative set.
That's the ground command center one. Yeah. Which is really good.
I think the French crew really did themselves credit.
No, they did.
They were amazing. Absolutely.
This is a great shot of that set. It's a shame. I always thought, Lego should be optioning the Bond stuff because they could go back and they could issue sets from every different movie, and as soon as they issued like a Moonraker interior or they did a Lego volcano villain base set, you just know fucking everyone's going to buy that. I mean, this is a pretty cool. At some point I'm gonna have to do my top like 5 Bond battles. Would this make it in the top 5? This might be number 5, maybe.
I'll level. It has one of my favourite stunts in a Bond movie, and that's the title sequence. I
mean, it's quite well directed. But again, where are all these American commandos coming from this one shuttle? They should have had like 2 or 3 shuttles come up. They clearly weren't able to do that. But it's some pretty nice stuff. Is that the favourite stunt?
It's the skydive stunt at the beginning.
At the beginning of it.
I think it's just incredible.
That is very well done.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, that was it B.J. Worth and I can't remember the name of the other gentleman.
What did you think about the Jaws love angle?
It was a bit daft, but
Was a bit, wasn't it? Was a little bit
it was
daft.
was a bit daft. But it does have one of my favourite little kind of exchanges of dialogue, actually.
Well, here's to us.
Which is, no, my favourite one is, my God, what's 007 doing? I think he's attempting
re-entry, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think he's attempting re-entry, sir.
Yeah, that was
Brilliant.
that is a good.
It's just classic.
That is a good one.
Yeah,
Have
and
to admit.
I like the one in Diamonds Are Forever as well. Hi, my name's Plenty, but of course it is Plenty O'Toole, named after your father, perhaps. Brilliant line. Brilliant line. I think which goes over the heads of so many people.
I saw Warfare today, which, funnily enough, I mentioned it earlier. It's the last film I saw at the cinema. I wonder what your thoughts were. Seeing very mixed reactions. Apologies if you've already talked about it. I think it's a brilliant film. I don't want to watch it again. I don't want to own it. It was a great film to experience. It was a very visceral experience. It was almost like going on a ride, like one of these rides at Disney. And I really felt it was a very, very, very realistic, non-Hollywood depiction of combat in the Middle East. And I forget where it was, whether it was Afghanistan or Iraq now, I've forgotten. But yeah, I wouldn't want to watch it again. It was fucking grim. I mean, it was great to see it and go, wow, that was a good film. But, you know, I just don't want to watch it again.
I think Alex Garland is you know, he's really, you know, it's almost like he's having a little bit of a renaissance. I mean, there was a kind of a quiet period that he had, and then, of course, then we got Ex Machina, which I thought was an excellent movie. I really enjoyed it.
I love Ex Machina.
Yeah. But just, you know, of late, I mean, he's got movie after movie after movie, you know, whether it be, you know, just writing and producing or whether it be directing, you know, so he's really, I think he's really an exceptional filmmaker, an exceptional writer as well. So I am looking forward to 28 Years, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer for that. It looks okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, somebody just mentioned one of my favorite films in the chat, which is Silver Streak. And
yeah,
which is the first time I believe that Wilder and Richard Pryor were Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. It's the first time they were paired up.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved the movie. I saw it as a kid. It was on like late one night.
Yeah.
And I've shown this clip at like many a movie quiz. You would not get this scene in a movie today.
That's my man. I don't think we'll make it past the cops.
We'll make it past the cops. I just hope we don't see no Muslims.
Yeah, I mean, but I really like that movie. I like the plot of that film.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It is a good movie.
And it's quite fun. And the number of I like the number of times he ends up on the train and off the train, and you've got Ned Beatty in there. There's another funny thing that, because I rewatched it recently, and you've got a scene with a really young Fred Willard, who I was talking about today with Jim, because of course he did Best in Show with him.
Yeah.
And he was the other commentator. This is the scene with Fred Willard in Silver Streak. He's like there he is with all his hair and looking really young. He's like the assistant manager, and the main guy's gone out for lunch, and and he's like, "You got a runaway train, it's heading your way," you know. Yeah, it's I love this film. I think it's such a great film.
Yeah, it is. It is good.
Yeah, another personal favourite of mine. Darth Plato just got triggered by that last clip. Sorry, man. Counseling's at the door on the way out.
But
Yeah.
it was nice to see them, you know, whenever they were reunited, especially I think in Stir Crazy.
Oh, didn't mean to put that screen up. Let's close that. I've just had a load of messages from people.
Yeah, and you know when they were reunited in Stir Crazy, I thought one of my favourite scenes is when they first get into the jail cell, when they're first arrested, and of course they're trying to act hard, and you've got these kind of big burly sort of hard men in the cell with them. They're going, "That's right, we're bad, don't take no shit either."
Yeah,
and just I mean, they were so brilliant together, you know. And I think
that's with Grossberger, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think you know, there was a time where you kind of, you know, whenever you thought of one, you always thought of the other. They were kind of almost inseparable in your mind. You know, whenever you thought of Richard Pryor, you would think of Gene Wilder and vice versa. But yeah, you know, two very, very talented people. Yeah, Richard Pryor, bless him. You know.
Yeah, I mean it's yeah. Well, the likes of them have gone now, sadly. I had funnily enough, while we've been live, I had a message from the guy who played Jean Charles in Suspect.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I wrote to him.
Yeah.
And he's just said, "Thanks so much for the amazing feedback. It means a lot. So glad you liked the series and that it resonated with you.
Yeah,
I will definitely watch your YouTube review once it's out. In other words, not today." So
but I think it's an important. It's one of those quite important pieces of work.
Very important.
You know, and there have been some just of late, I think, that have been quite important pieces of work. I mean, when we get these kinds of things that are, I mean, okay, they're scattered, but you know, and there's enough room for fluff and for serious stuff. But you know, when you have something of the likes of Suspect, I think, you know, it is one of those things that everybody should really take a very, very long, hard look at and understand the circumstances of this poor man's tragic murder. And I'm going to say murder as well. So I think it was murder because they intended to kill him. There was an intention to kill. There wasn't anything other than that. And with the intention to kill, that's murder.
Yeah, well, I mean, because it was all down to the confused communication that occurred, basically. The message that they effectively got from Cressida Dick was he must not be allowed to get on that train. In other words, kill him if he gets on the train.
Yeah.
So you can't entirely. I mean, obviously that they have to accept blame, a huge portion of the blame, but you can't entirely blame them because they thought they were doing their master's bidding, really.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, but of course, you know, what's quite amazing is that she went on to become commissioner of the Met as well.
I know.
And that staggers me.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I don't want to say too many disparaging things about the person, but I let's just say I have my opinion on her.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say.
We can get into it tomorrow.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Meanwhile, here's another cool shot of the ship from The Spy Who Loved Me before we begin to wrap up. There you go. Fab stuff. This model was like about 24 feet long or something.
Yeah. I mean, Derek Meddings was bloody marvelous. He really was. Yeah.
There's that amazing set again.
Yeah.
This would be what's known. This would be what's known as your money shot, where you've got every extra. So all of the people that you're seeing in this shot, by the way, would have also played the Russian submarine crewmen, the American submarine crewmen,
and
British submarine crewmen. All of the extras would have been redonned for this shot with the Stromberg red jumpsuit, along with several Sardinian fake tashes to disguise any of the key extra units. You would have got more than one shot for this money shot. And then, of course, when you get the shot of the crewman coming out of the USS Wayne, you never see all this number of people in it again. You've mainly got the group that's around here in the center here.
Yeah.
Learned so much about filmmaking techniques from this movie, which, you know, obviously stood me well for all those massive big Bond battle scenes that I've shot. I have shot a couple of action scenes, and I did actually employ these lessons. And there he is getting out. So these really look like the jumpsuits they're similar to the jumpsuits that were worn by the visitors. Remember in V?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Got a bit of a V vibe, haven't they?
Yeah.
Zips were very popular in the 70s. There was a lot of penile accidents.
Yeah.
There's a lot of A&E filled with zip testicular.
Yeah, lots of skin on the wrong side of the zipper.
Yeah. Very painful.
Yeah,
that's
We've
an interesting.
all been there.
That's an interesting shot. I don't think I've seen this particular picture before, because you very rarely get a shot of what would be the bow doors of the ship. Technically, the end of the studio where the tank ends. So that's quite an interesting shot. That I like that. God, I would love to have had a wander around this set back in the day.
I mean, the huge sets that I've been on that stage, quite a few. I think, and it's what's nice is that when the stage gets extended, I mean, because they're on many of the projects that I worked on, they've created an extension to the rear of the stage, so you can add maybe another 40, 50 foot, maybe even more than that used to go out into what used to be one of the back lots, behind the Bond stage. And some of the projects that I've been on, where they've made that extension to the stage, it's a phenomenally big space. It's a huge space. I mean, on the set of Event Horizon, that was quite an interesting one. Tomb Raider was a remarkable set, actually. I mean, that was, I think it was like 2 sets split into 2. So you had the Cambodian temple, and then you had the Iceland, under the ice, the orrery set, that were both basically on the same stage at the same time. And then you had what other ones? My brother did the was in the art department doing the sinking Venice set that was done. Done for Casino Royale.
Yeah, I wasn't keen on that sequence.
Oh, I really liked it. I thought it was really quite interesting.
I mean, it was and it wasn't. It was kind of, okay, it's a gunfight in a sinking house in Venice, which is sinking, okay. And then I just sort of thought, no, I would have much rather there been a hidden missile base in Venice with 20 guys in red jumpsuits. And, and that was sinking, and there's lots of guys in red jumpsuits with sinking, and I don't know. I found a lot of the action in the Craig era. It was all too Jason Bourne. I like a Jason Bourne film. In fact, I took my dad to see the first one of the trilogy. He definitely came with me to see. He loved it, actually. He loved it because it's very James Bond, you know. But yeah, I just they were just trying to be too Jason Bourne. It just sort of.
I was actually quite underwhelmed by the Jason Bourne movies, and
Right.
and I think because I'm not particularly a fan of Robert Ludlum, I find him really, for want of a better phrase, fucking boring. I don't.
Plus, we have to
find
take into consideration your grumpy curmudgeon factor.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the primary reason.
Yeah.
and always will be. But I enjoyed the Craig era very, very much. And I like him. I like him because I know that he's kind of the only Bond that I know that would really be able to kick the shit out of me, I think, if I was to go up against them. Whereas the others, I think I could take them. I mean, even Connery in his prime, I think I could easily have a good go at, to be honest.
Now, inside man, you might think you can take me, but can you wear a safari suit with the same suave and sophistication as me? I don't think you can.
You know, there is a place, and I can't remember the name of them, but they actually are licensed to do all of the original Bond costumes. So they have them as limited runs of the original Bond costumes. So you can buy those safari suits and Bond's shirts and his swimming shorts. And the thing is, you know, I think his swimming shorts out of Thunderball, I think something like 450 quid, you know, so they're ridiculous sums of money, you know.
Just turning to some of the comments in the chat, Rachel Percy, I miss models in films. We too miss the hot models in the Bond films. We do miss the Bond girls. I'm sure that's what she meant. Sidecar bomb was hilarious. This road where this sequence was shot is on Sardinia, and it's at the north end of the island. And this whole chase was basically filmed on that one road. They just kept repeating. If you look at the section of road when you watch this chase, it's pretty much the same section constantly.
A little bit like watching any episode of Scooby-Doo from the 70s.
It's got that because they refilmed this. This is at the far end of the island, so there's no chance of any other traffic. And when we were shot, I was on Sardinia for film production, and we were being shown all the film locations, and you know where things could be shot for this movie and so on. And we got taken up here, and as soon as I saw the road, I went, "This is the road from The Spy Who Loved Me." And the guy said, "Yeah, God, how did you know that?" And I said, I've watched that film so many times, and I've looked at every shot in the film to think, where is that shot, you know? And yeah, and I, the only place I didn't visit when I was on Sardinia was the hotel that they used for where the ship pulls up. You know, yes, what lovely lines you have, all of that sequence.
Yeah,
but yeah, but I mean, it's a beautiful island. It's a brilliant film location because it's got different climates from sort of one section of the island to another. Is very different, and I thought that was, you know, particularly cool about it.
Yeah, I mean, my brother, he tries to visit as many of the Bond locations as he possibly can. I mean, he's, you know, not only having worked on, I think 4 or 5 of them, pretty much the same as me. But yeah, I mean, he's absolutely in his element whenever he goes abroad anywhere. He'll always try and think of, you know, which Bond movie may have been shot there, and he'll try to visit as many of the locations as he can. So he's been to so many of them, and he did go to the restaurant, the Piz Gloria restaurant from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Where else was it? I mean, Bratislava. I mean, a lot of the Roman locations for Spectre, and just all over the place.
So let me amaze you all now. I'm gonna proper show off now. here is this road. Literally just went on quickly onto Google Earth to see if I can remember where it was. And here it is, almost in exactly the same place. To that shot. I wish I could put them, if I can put them side by side, but yeah. So this is that bend where the thing is launched. And this same, the reason they use this same stretch of road, if we go along a bit further, and you've got there you go. So that's the actual corner.
Yeah.
But the chase starts back there, round that bend.
Right.
Okay. That's the corner. And then up here, basically, when you get up here, there's just a place for you to turn around. And also, when you look across there, you get that spectacular view of all the bays. You get that shot in the film. You can see that shot in the movie. Yeah, and so this here is like this little place you can go up there, you can turn round, and then they took us up to this end place. We had a look around here, and everybody's staring at the Google car and pulling pictures. And we walked up around this little bridge section, had a look around there, and went up to this location here. And oh man, it's a great location, because in the story we were scouting locations for, we needed a cliff where this woman loves the view, but she goes there to end her life, and this guy's like racing to stop her. So you can see why they filmed this chase sequence all along this road, because basically once they closed off one end of it and didn't allow anybody up there, they've got the whole roadway to use for this section. So yeah, there you go, and you got your nice bend in the road where someone can suddenly appear with the lorry and all of that stuff. So yeah, this is where that was filmed, and that is the beautiful island of Sardinia. And my God, it's just an amazing place. I went there scouting for this film, and I remember coming back and telling my wife at the time, "Oh my God, I can't wait for us to go there together." And we never got to do that. Fucking hate that. I should have insisted that she came on the scout. But coulda, shoulda, woulda. So yeah, great place.
Lovely place.
Yeah,
lovely place.
And the hotel that they used in the Bond movie is not actually that one there that you can see. This one, it's not that one. It's over the other side of this bay, funnily enough. Although they do look pretty similar, so they may well be owned by the same chain. Anyway, there you go. Where was the lake scene shot at? The lake scene in Spy Love Me? What scene's that? In the lake? Don't know. Were you talking about a different movie, maybe? Different Bond movie? Let me know. Yeah, it is a gorgeous location. I saw a lot of good-looking models when I was there, Rachel, so you would have liked it.
Well, Lego models, I think we're talking about, aren't we?
No, I meant stunningly attractive ladies.
No, I think we mean Lego models, I think.
Lego models. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's what I meant.
There's a good model of the Death Star there. Yeah,
there was many. Apparently, this guy who does this thing where he looks at the bottle, I think that was one of the crew, wasn't it? It was this guy was one of the crew.
Oh no, he's the same guy that does the double take in Venice. He was he's just known as the Bottle Man, isn't he? He was actually just I think he was yes, he was local crew. I think you're right. I think he was local crew.
I don't know if he was local crew. I think he was something like an assistant to the production manager, or he was an exec producer. He was something to do with the franchise.
But I think he appeared in obviously Moonraker, and then For Your Eyes Only, wasn't he? I think he was when Bond's being chased on skis, and he goes down the bobsleigh run of the guys on the motorcycle. He does another sort of double take with a drink in his hand there.
I love the way we've surreptitiously just turn this stream into a, oh yeah, let's talk about Spy Love Me again. I'm sure we've done this before. But, you know, can't do it enough times.
Mm. But yeah, I mean,
Mamma mia, whatever it was. Mamma mia, something. I forget exactly what he's saying.
There's certainly some lovely locations there. I mean, let's face it, I mean, any Bond movie is going to have some fantastic locations. You know, it's what it is, the tradition, isn't it? The tradition of every Bond movie to have great locations.
You can really appreciate how good these models are. This far ahead in time now, you know.
Yeah.
It's the way they're photographed.
Yeah, I think the biggest compliment I think that they were paid was the guy from the oil company had said, "My God, you know, so you did manage to get one of our ships," and they said, "No, that's a model." And these representatives from this big oil company or this big freighter company, they were convinced that this was a real oil tanker that was being used.
Right.
And that is a massive compliment to the.
I was always surprised they didn't make a toy of this, because I know you had a dinky toy of the Lotus.
The Lotus, yeah.
There were two
and
versions
you had the
of
helicopter
it
as well.
Yeah, there was a mini version with a mini helicopter. You could get
yeah.
And then there was the bigger version of the Lotus, and there was a bigger version of the helicopter.
Mm.
Yeah, but they never, you know, they should have done an infantry pack with 20 guys in red jumpsuits.
Mm.
But hey,
I mean, it always irritated me that you know, when I finally got the Lotus as a present, it was kind of in my Christmas stocking. In 1977, as it probably was for many young lads.
I think I got it. I got a dinky Eagle around the same time.
Yeah, but what irritated me more than anything was the fact that the missiles, the 4 missiles that you put in the back, were orange. They were bright orange, and and it really irritated me.
I think mine were bright red.
Yeah.
Or they might have been. Were they yellow? Maybe sort of yellow.
Yeah, mine were orange.
Let's get a before we wrap up. Let's get a picture of it, and we got about half an hour of production chat. We got to have. We probably should have done that the other way around, but anyway. Was it dinky or was it corgi? Corgi. Lotus. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's have a look at it. Let me put original in front of that, because I know they've done some reissues of these things. Not that long ago. Yeah, so here's one with original packaging as well. There's quite a few pictures with it. So it's on eBay, no less, 53 quid. I would have thought it would have gone for more than that.
Yeah, me too.
You're right, you know, those missiles are a horrendous colour.
It's irritated me, that, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't blame you, I've got to be honest. Let's hang on. Share screen here. I mean, I think the idea of them being a bright colour was so that when Johnny fired them behind the sofa, they were easier to recover, you know.
Yeah, you're probably right there.
There you go. That was them.
Yeah. See, even as a kid, I was actually quite pedantic and petty-minded.
Yeah, I mean that's a repro, so that's not the original. But that's what they looked like. This is like the original in the box here. There you go. 140 quid in a knackered box. And I don't even know if that's got the missiles with it, because it looks like they're missing unless they come in as separate. But yeah, they were bright. They were bright orange. Oh, here you go. Look at them. Sort of reddish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did remember them. Thought they were a bit more red. And it's possible as well. You could have had Dinky and Corgi had this terrible habit of we've run out of paint for the spray gun. Oh, but we've got a can of metallic blue paint left as well. Oh, okay. Well, let's spray the rest of those eagles in metallic blue then. And
Yeah.
Because when they first made the original, there's massive debate about this on the internet. I couldn't believe how many people argued about this. When they first issued the original Dinky Toy Eagles from Space 1999,
yeah,
there was a small number of white ones that were produced for both the one that carried the canister and also the one with the sort of just general supply pod. They were originally all supposed to be white. And then when it came to the mass production line, Dinky realized that they had loads of metallic blue left over and loads of metallic green left over from the UFO toys that they'd made, the Shadow mobiles and the UFO interceptors. So they just decided to paint the main body of the two different types of ships, metallic green and metallic blue, but white ones did exist because one friend of mine had the white ones, and I was like, how fucking hell did you get those? Oh, we got them from Hamleys when they first came out. Oh, right, okay. So clearly there were a limited number.
Yeah.
And I argued the toss back and forth with people on forums. Oh no, you know, they must have been repros, or the dad repainted them. No, they didn't. No, I saw him take it out of the box when he got it. You know, there were white ones that existed, and some people were just not having it. And I was like, "Well, were you there?" I pulled a Ridley Scott on them. I said, "Were you there?" See, and obviously, as we know, the "were you there" rule validates any other inquiry. So, that was it. I was trumps. Right, okay, we're going to jump off now. I was going to end this stream quite quickly. So much more. As soon as we got into a segue of the Spy Who Loved Me. So, 15 people that are watching tomorrow. We're gonna do a Nielsen Ratings special. We don't normally do them on Wednesdays. I try and avoid clashing with other people's streams, but I'm afraid this one's important. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about Suspect tomorrow. This is a really important show. If you want to have your views, if you want to talk about what you think about it, get in touch tomorrow. Also, if you're a YouTuber, I'd quite like to have a really big panel on for this. So you've got time to watch 4 episodes of it. You've got to have seen the whole thing. Rachel, actually, if you want to come on and again, you can be off camera. If you want to come on tomorrow, I would love to have a female panelist on. So if you'd like to come on tomorrow and offer your views on it, you don't have to, don't worry about whether you're a major film buff or not. It's really just about getting an opinion. And Edison Alcadi, I think you pronounced that surname. Sorry, Edison, if I've mispronounced it. I actually wrote to him and I heard from him today. So he knows we're going to be doing a stream on it, and he's going to watch it. So, yeah, so it's going to be really interesting. I've got my friend Jay Simpson was also in this production. So I might even see if I can get him to pop on and chat with us for a little bit. But yeah, so it's well worth your time if you haven't seen it. True story, quite a tragic story, but definitely one that needs to be seen. And yeah, it's good. It's good. All right, okay. Darth Pato's going to try and watch it.
Yay.
All right, guys. So we're gonna leave it there. Thanks for tuning into this impromptu show. And Nielsen Ratings is going to return tomorrow at 9, and then there's going to be a week's break, and then we'll be back towards the end of May. In the meantime, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
There you go.